The content on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only. Please contact a professional when it comes to your financial needs. It's that time of year again. And no, I'm not talking about Christmas. This is for after Christmas. December is a great month to get all your finances together before you go out and hit those malls and start planning your budget for 2026. We're going to get into that right here, right now on the Ujamaa Network with Google Sheets. We're going to pretend that you've never used Google Sheets before, and I want you to go ahead and double click on those chevrons right there for Google Apps. Scroll down, and you're going to find Google Sheets. Click it, and then hit the blank spreadsheet right there. Any good budget is going to start with an actual amount of money that you're actually bringing in as income. We're going to base our numbers off of what the average, so called average of earnings in America is, which is around $50,000. Now, a lot of people that I know are going to be like, huh, in whose world? But actuality, with the lowest to highest earners in a labor market, $50,000 is about what we pay. And these numbers are generally the same in the UK, but we're just going to use those as an example. Now, I know what some of you guys are already thinking, $50,000 is a little low, right? But it gets lower, trust me. We're going to go ahead and name our spreadsheet first, and it's going to be the 2026 budget. Just going to click off to the side, and that's going to name it. And that $50,000 after taxes is around $39,000. And that's being generous because actually a lot of jobs take out your pre-tax deductions. This is not really including, in all cases, your medical insurance, your health insurance, in addition to the FICA taxes we pay here. FICA is basically Social Security, that kind of deal. And you have Medicaid and Medicare for our broken healthcare system. Those could amount to, in some instances, $3,000 to $5,000 a year, in just money just going out of your pocket, paying for the general good. So no politics in this spreadsheet, just some facts and some numbers. So you're starting off with $39,000 per year. Now we're gonna start with our first formula. $39,000 per year. We're gonna do a formula under two. Just hit your equal sign, and we're gonna divide this A1 divided by 12. There's 12 months in the year, equal. And that's what you're bringing home monthly. So let's just go ahead and do our first little move. I'm going to highlight both of these columns. I'm going to turn it to a hand just by hitting that last little line, drag, drop, move. And we're going to call this right here annual income. And this is going to be monthly income. Simple enough. Let's go ahead and make it nice and pretty. And let's format these fields, highlight, drag, and then hit this dollar sign so we know what we're talking about. And that is our income. Now, this is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak, because when you really think about it, the average income in America being at $50,000 when our rents and food prices are so ridiculously high right now, it stretches the budget. But we still have to make room to try to save for our investment futures. So again, for any budget, these numbers are going to work. You just have to make them work. So let's get back into the spreadsheet. All righty, we're back in our sheet, and we're going to go over to column C, number 4 right here. You can put it anywhere in there, but I'm just trying to make it nice and pretty. Um, First thing we're going to label are our household Let's go ahead and get this out of here. Don't know where that came from. Call it household expenses. Stretch it out and just leave it at that. Under household expenses, let's go ahead and change the font, make it an impact. Let's make it about 12, and it's big and bold because we want to make sure you see that. Uh, Center it. Click on the field, and there's a little icon here, center, and it centers it right in the middle of the field. Our bills are going to be left justified. Let's start with an honest depiction of what we're paying. I'm not going to call it rent or mortgage. We're just going to call it shelter. Okay? And this is your living space. Could have called it rent, could have called it mortgage. We could have called it rent/mortgage. And let's just leave it at that. This is by far the biggest expense that we have outside of our deductions that brought us down to this $3,200 a month. Rent in the metro area right now averages for a one bedroom apartment in a nice area anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000, and we're going with $2,000. And that is going to stretch any budget if your monthly income at $50,000 is $3,200. Just be aware. Now, some apartments will have your utilities all included. A lot of them won't. And we're not going to go into the extras, just the two that everyone has to have in order to have occupancy. And we're going to call that our electric bill and our water bill. Georgia deregulated water bills, and you have to pay them. There have been some situations where apartment complexes where people have been paying their rent faithfully without fail, only to find out that the landlord or the housing project had not been paying the water bill, and the bill just goes into collection, and eventually the city foreclosed on these apartments and leaving these people with nowhere to stay. Yes, that has happened. And you're wondering, oh, well, didn't they include the water? No. Long story short, no. And the city actually condemned the apartment because you don't have running water. The water utility will shut off water for the entire project, and that's that. So, average in Georgia, you can Google it, but to be honest, I'm averaging about 100 in electricity. That's my average, and I'll just do Google right here. Average electric bill, Georgia. 140, 165. Well, I'm doing like 125, and I'm going to just go ahead and put in the average here, since we're dealing with average money. And let's do the same thing for water bill. That's around 50. 28 to 30. That's water and sewage. Mine's is 24 and 24. So let's go ahead and just plug that in at around $30. I'm going to say 40. And that is the bulk of what's going on in the house. You've got if you have electric heated home like I do versus gas powered home, and we're going to leave an extra field for gas. and you're going to add heating if it's separate from your electric bill. I'm just going to leave mine blank, and this is what we're dealing with so far. So you've got your electric, your water, and your heating. That's going to cover some of your utilities. We're going to do other bills such as your cell phone, your internet. This is going to be outside of those things that have to be paid per month. Now, I like to color code some of my options here. These are non negotiables. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these fields, and I'm going to change the color of the field to bright red. All right. You can't play with this, or you're going to be cold or sitting in the dark or thirsty. All right. We're just not going to do that. Just go ahead and pay your bills on time. Along with that, let's go ahead and make all of these bold. And go ahead and put a dollar sign on them. This is real money we're talking about. Now, let's get into those things that you can live without, but really definitely need. Right now, in the US, you have to have internet. I know a lot of Gen Xers say, nah, you don't. I'm a Gen Xer. Baby boomers definitely don't, but really, if you don't have internet access at your home, it's a problem. And let's go ahead and plug $70 in there. That's being generous. Next to that internet bill, cell phone service. And a lot of people do not have landlines. I don't think they have. I'm gonna definitely put you guys in a hurt locker on this one. If you're paying more than $35 a month, switch to a low budget carrier. Okay, don't go past that. It's just not worth it, and you need to save money somewhere. This is one of those non-negotiables for me, and I'm going to put this right next to this. Choose low cost carrier. And let's move it over just a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and shrink that font right there. We don't want to spend the whole check on cell phone because you see, we're only dealing with $3,200 a month. And when I total this up, you're gonna be pissed. You're gonna be pissed. So we got our basics covered, internet, cell phone. That's got to be in there. Period. Point blank. Again, let's go ahead and put a dollar sign on this because we're talking about real money. And then let's color code these. We're gonna make this one purple. It's not quite hot. Actually, I like orange. Let's go with the orange. And let's make that bold as well. Okay. You got to have these paid, period, point blank. And we're already busting up on that budget pretty hard. And that covers some of our expenses. Okay, let's go ahead and put in our first total line and our first formula in this spreadsheet here. I'm going to go down to line 20 right here, click in that field, and I'm going to put in the equal sign. Just type that in right there. This is going to set you up for your formula. Now, what I want to do is get a sum of everything in this field. So drag and drop everything from here to here. See that right there? Just type the word sum and put it in quotes. Just like that. And once you hit enter, you get your amount that you've already spent so far. Let's really make this stand out. Hit bold. And then we're going to format that screen just like they do in an accountant spreadsheet. And we're going to go ahead and underline that. See that black line? And that's going to be how we know this is our running total here. All right. This is our monthly expenses thus far. And we haven't even eaten yet. So let's go ahead and put in some groceries because you're not eating out yet. And what is the average grocery bill? Georgia, they're saying it's like $278 per week per household. Whoo! With intros around $370 a month per person. We're going to do a single family, a single person's budget, and say that grocery bill is about $370. A lot of families, that number is just not going to work. Food prices in America are high. So let's go ahead and hit that up and say grocery bill. Did I spell that right? Yeah. And that's going to be monthly $340. See how it automatically adjusted that? And this is another one of those things that's going to be a red because you got to eat. Red field and black letters. That is bold. And dollars. All right, we're eating, but it cost us. Whew. It's already getting expensive, and your budget is not really budgeting right now. So let's go ahead, get back into it, and make another formula. This time, we're going to get a running total on what we have left after the basic stuff. All right, let's zoom in right under our monthly income field. We're going to call it um, budget. And on this field, another formula equals your monthly income. Hit the minus key. And what this formula says, boom, and hit enter. That's what you got left after the basics. You're already down to $625. This hurts every American right now. Just the basics. We don't have any Netflix, no streaming platforms. We got our internet, but if you're paying for cable television or satellite games, it's all coming out of that $625. Now, we're assuming that your employer, out of that $3,000 that you have left after taxes and deductions, is coming out of there. But honestly, it's not. If you get sick in America, you're cooked. If you don't have a good healthcare provider, you're cooked. It's over. And this is just regular numbers. I want you guys to understand these are all averages. There are people in America who make far more, but there are so many more who make far less than $50,000 a year. Think of your policemen. Um, I think the starting salary in DeKalb County was like 55,000 at one point in time. They just got a raise. Um, but teachers with bachelor degrees, no, they're making like 35, 40 if they're lucky, $38,000 a year. And that'll pair out what's the average teacher salary in Georgia. And you can see it out. They're saying 67,000, but the starting average is 43. So it's really under. They got a raise because when I was teaching, it was just 38. Just not good. Factors like experience, education level, with master's degrees, you can get up to a starting salary in the 50s, but it's not a given. And with the shortages that we have in teachers right now, definitely not happening. $625. The older generation would take this time and say, okay, it's time to pay yourself. I don't really rock with that anymore. Different times for us. You pay yourself by saving. Because really and truly, unless you are trying to stay in the same position, sacrifice is going to have to be made. Out of 625,000, $625 out of the $39,000 you brought home with that average $50,000 salary, you're going to have to make this thing stretch. Now, if you're going out to the club, dropping hundreds on bottles, going in on sections, this is why call so much cap on people who are out here moving like they're doing more than what they are. They got on nice outfits, hair done, nice cut, shoes, Jordans, $625. You're doing too much, buddy. You're doing way too much. And your basic needs are just being met. That's if you're living on your own. A lot of individuals in this age bracket that we are in when we get out of school, I'm talking about your 22 to really 30-year-old people, they get roommates because it's really that critical. Now, if you got out there and you got married, you can cut it down a little bit. That's if you got a partner that's on the same page as you. But honestly and truly, an individual out here is really hustling. You got to do more. Um, before you even begin thinking about generational wealth, you just have to get through the day. And notice, we're not eating out with $625 left after your bills are paid. We haven't talked about student loans. I'm about to plug that in here. And we're going to really work a masterful budget for you. Now, this absolutely does not tell the whole story. A lot of individuals, especially in my community, there's a lot of untold things going here. But I'm just going to keep this simple. But I'm going to demonstrate what happens to the average man who does not protect his seed and has to pay that child support because those kids got to eat too. Average child support. Average child support payment per child. GA. This one's going to hurt you. $583 a month for one child if you got a combined income. It's crazy. There's no single average amount for child support. Georgia depends on both parents' incomes. Yeah, I know all about that. Even when you're not the custodial parent, um, the income shares model is what they're using now. I can tell you this right here is about accurate, but that's just what you're sending in payments to the primary custodial parent. And let's just go ahead and just say if you were paying child support, unfortunately, really unfortunately, for the parents and the children, that 580, boom, takes you down to $45, buddy. That's just what it is. Let's go ahead and put $1 on that. You cooked. You are cooked. And I wish people would understand that before they break up their families. That's an average. If he's got more than one child, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Go ahead and take that away. You're back up to your $625 after your basic needs. What if you got a car note? Average car note in the U.S. I'm just going to just say Georgia. Car note. Let's take away that per child. Boom. Around $748 and $532 for a used car. And that's in second quarter to Georgia. Woohoo. Now, let's just say You paying 600. I know people who are paying far more than that. That's without child support. That's without auto insurance. Average auto insurance in Georgia per month. Look at that. 183. People always forget that you in the hole, buddy. You in the hole big time. $50,000. If you got a car making payments and paying insurance, you cooked and you haven't put in any gas. You're not riding a Tesla. All right? You have no gas, fuel. Average fuel cost auto in Georgia per month. Yeah, 130 bucks. Being generous. If you're in the metro area, the transit system in Metro Atlanta is not good. It's just not. You are way in the hole, and you have to have some form of transportation down here. It's just non negotiable. Where we live and where we work are two different places. $50,000. This is why people are not making it right now. You start off every month in the hole. That's why so many side hustles are popping up. You have to get it how you get it. And again, we're not including child support. If I put that 570 bucks back in there, bruh, yo, it's just crazy. So how do you build generational wealth? By having generational debt like that coming out? Everything. You working all the time and you are in the hole almost $1,000. I can go on because you just ate and drove to work. That's all you're doing. There's not a whole lot you can cut. You gotta eat. Right? I don't have anything in the heat. Fortunately, if you are in a situation like mine, you have electric heat. Yeah, your bill is a little bit higher in the summer and winter months, but it's pretty accurate right here. And we're talking about $4,108 with just these costs. And I'm leaving these out because I really want you guys to understand the game that's being played on you when you look at these things in real time. This is your monthly income being swallowed up completely by your monthly expenses. You say you don't need internet? That $70 is a drop in the bucket. That cell phone bill at the budget, drop in the bucket. Gotta eat. You stop eating, you still in the hole. Let's say you protected your seed. Let's say you own a car. You got a hoopty while you were still living with mom and dad. You still got to put gas in that car. All right? You haven't bought any clothes, no Jordans. You whack and crazy if you do. But initially, we were talking about how this budget could work for anybody. This is based on $50,000 a year. Bruh, living in America is hard right now. And I know a lot of my viewers are in the Philippines or in Thailand We have quite a few in the UK, and I know you guys feel our pain because you're going through it similar. We may have some differences when it comes to healthcare, but trust me, that average income, things are just, it's the same, I guess, when you take out the differences per pounds and dollars. But the cost of living in the UK is just as high, if not higher, than it is in the US. And you are cooked, partner. I'm going to link this in Google Drive, and you're going to go ahead and be able to share and edit it. I'm going to go ahead and let you plug whatever numbers you want in there so you can see just how easy it is. That way, you can see that you can adjust these numbers to whatever your income is. Let's say you're at an actual 50,000, and it'll show you what your budget is. So you have to bring home $50,000 to be able to afford that $570 child support, or that $600 car note, or that $180 a month auto insurance. If you're bringing home $50,000, that's what you're dealing with. Your bills are still going to be the same, but you're only going to end up the month with $61. Now, how do you pay yourself with $61 at the end of the month if you have all this going on? Again, this is not everything. We've got a few extra fields here. So if you want to have streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, like I have, and you spending $100 a month on that, let's put some dollars on these and make sure that we know we're talking about dollars. You're in the hole. You're in the hole. And I say 100 because most of us have a lot going on streaming services. Uh, it's just one of those facts of life that didn't exist in Gen X. Let's cut that down to $50. You still only have $11.67 left. But again, you get the idea. You can adjust this. This works for any budget. And I have the link for you so you can get on it and start with your budget for 2026. Adjust that budget to suit your needs, whatever point you're trying to make. I don't like to go too deep into red pill conversations with the dating market being what it is, or blue pill. Let's call this the green pill conversation. Things are just so much better when you have two incomes to deal with, and you're not dealing with so many of these extra costs. Now, this is a very basic budget. You go into that and adjust it to your liking. Some of you might have a few more bills. I didn't mention any upkeep for personal upkeep. Didn't mention any clothes in this budget. You put that kind of stuff in there. You have to be very mindful of what you're spending in times like this. That way you can come out on top. I didn't mention any of the investment goals that we have, that 10 to 20% I want saved. You've got to grow to that, especially when you are starting off with less than $50,000 a year and you're 20 something years old. You're living in a one bedroom apartment that's costing you an arm and a leg. You want to be able to start planning your moves. So if you're not already there, kind of map out what you're trying to get at. This is why stuff like, getting sick, or, having to go to the hospital, we're all one hospital bill away from real financial danger. One car note or car accident away from being taken out of the game. So many side hustles. This is the real deal of what it is in the US right now. I know people have different ideas of what the money is over here, but it really ain't that bad. Or ain't that, excuse me, it's not that good. It's not that sweet over here. If you got it in your head that you're gonna be able to send money back home to your home country, to your peoples, nah, bro. It's not like that. It really isn't like that. You have to take into consideration that those relatives and family members that come to the US to try to make a living, it's tough. Now, obviously, if they're coming over here, they're coming over here with a good idea of what they're gonna do. They have some kind of professional skill, and they're making it. But the current climate in this country is not so friendly as it once was, for anybody coming to try to make a life for themselves elsewhere. I want you guys to be very aware of that. Now, this video was purposely meant to go a little long, actually, very long. This is going to be the longest video I put out, period, because there's so much we have to cover. And I'm thinking about even going further right now because I want to add in what we need to be saving to build generational wealth. Okay, so the kids are grown, they out the house, you paid off your car, you're keeping auto insurance, fuel, gas, you got rid of your streaming, and you paid off all your loans, okay? Let's do it like that. And we're making a little bit more money. So let's go ahead and plug in our new budget at $1,100 and let's start talking about investing. So let's go ahead and copy this, right click, copy, go over here, right click, paste, and rename investments. Booyah. Now, what are we investing in? We got crypto, we got stocks. Notice I'm not putting any savings in here because saving is just a waste of time and money and energy. It's not working for you in that bank, it's working for the banks. So, what do we got going on here? Oh, yeah, get rid of that. There we go. There's our budget. So, we got crypto, we got stocks. How much of this are we going to allocate towards crypto? So earlier we said that our monthly with the new adjustment is that 3,000 here. So let's go ahead and take 10% of that. That equals 10% of this times 0.01. Or actually 0.1. That's 10%. Enter. So we got $387 per month that we want to allocate 10% of our monthly income into crypto or stocks. All right. Now, after our investments, what's that going to leave us? This is going to equal this minus this. Let's do that in reverse. Equals the $1,100 we started with minus what we're taking out. $722 left just for yourself after your 10% savings. This is your budget. You allocate this $387.50 towards your crypto and your stocks. You could do half and half or whatever you feel, but you want to put something in here and start building your generational wealth. The bottom line is that you got to make these numbers work for you. It may not be that plausible if you are still in that survival mode, but I'm letting you know the numbers are just what they are. No matter the situation, you plug those numbers in the best you can and you try to improve your situation by putting a little bit aside. Even if you're not able to save anything, you are able to cut some things. It's just going to hurt a little bit more. Any budget, any amount of income will work. You just have to visualize these numbers. Let me know what you think in the comment section below and I'll talk to you very, very soon.